What is my home worth? People are asking me that. There are 3 reasons you may be getting it wrong. I want to talk to you about that, and I've got commentary on a bunch more. So stick with me on this short video for sellers. And if you're a buyer that wants the perspective of a seller, this is great information for you too. So I hope you stick around and watch the entire video. Lots to come. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me. If you would, I would appreciate it if you take just 1 second to subscribe to my channel. I am slowly growing. I believe that I'm offering the content that is going to last, as in this information that I'm giving is going to be helpful for you for a long time to come, and having me on your side is going to be very important because now you know how. That's me, Rob Howe. You know me, and now you know the information I have to offer every week. I think it's really important. I definitely thrive on giving this information, so I'm excited to give it. Right now, I'd like to focus on sellers and what they should be thinking about right now. Everybody wants to know, what is my home worth? There are 3 items that I think you need to be aware of when you think about your home's value. And I say think about it because right now it is a changing environment. It has been for a little while, as many know. And I want you to know what you need to be aware of when you're looking at your price. Like, you know, obviously a lot of people just run to Zillow and go, hey, Zillow says my property is worth this much. Well, Zillow is notoriously off for several reasons, especially in a changing market. And I also believe that Zillow has maybe a little bit of a vested interest in keeping a market looking like it's a little better than it is. Although, because Vegas has been holding firm, if you've watched my videos in the last couple of weeks, at least, I've been letting people know that I believe Vegas is stabilizing. I'll rewind real quick what's happened. Last year, we had unprecedented, crazy price hikes, as everybody knows. The market went nuts about this time last year. It had been going nuts for about 2 years, okay, going up. And we really haven't seen a downtrend in Las Vegas for quite a long time. So that's what was happening. We had a big ramp up, and then the interest rates changed. And they changed in an unprecedented manner. And that really hit our median price because, of course, you're hitting historic high prices with now historic rate movements. And those two pressed together didn't bode well for the median price. So people were getting cheaper and cheaper homes. Well, now it looks like we're stabilizing. This is good for sellers to know because obviously you don't want to be feeling like you're entering a market where you're just going to, you know, have to give away the farm. That's why these things that I have to tell you are so important. So what's happened is we went from 482 median home price, and then we are now around 425. It's held at 425 for the last couple of months. And here's where I got some things wrong. Not only did I get wrong as we were entering into this year that the prices would continue to drop. I thought clearly that's what's going to happen, but also that inventory would not continue to go up. Inventory was not going up as much as I thought it would as we were entering into 2023, but it was still going up. And then suddenly we hit end of January, we get the numbers for January, and inventory basically stayed the same, which is pretty wild. Okay, you're entering a time when people are putting their properties on the market more, and it was really unprecedented low buyer activity. So you're thinking, well, if there's no buyers, then clearly the listings are going to pile up. Wasn't happening. Not only was it not happening, but then we get the numbers at the beginning of March, and we had over a month drop in our supply of inventory for resale homes. This is why stabilization is occurring, because there's enough out there to take up the inventory, and we don't have desperate sellers. So if you're a seller, and I'm glad you stuck with me through that little walk down memory lane as how we got here, just a quick, the Reader's Digest version of it. But let me start out with number one reason you may be getting it wrong, because pricing and comparison. What's happening right now with inventory that I see out there, this is important to the pricing because there is inventory that really is not even viable inventory. That inventory is overpriced and or it's not in good shape. People will not purchase overpriced properties, and they definitely don't want to purchase properties they have to put a bunch of work in when they are getting hit on the interest rates like they are right now. They're coming in and they're squeezed already. The last thing they want to do is spend more money on a property, or certainly spend more than it's worth in their mind for an overpriced property. So this is good for you if you're a seller and you want to get something done, because there's inventory that's not even your competition, okay? So pricing is so important. So if you price right, price to sell, that is going to get it done for you in this market. It doesn't mean you have to give away the farm, folks. It just means you have to be smart about your pricing. And what's smart is to compare the most recent sales, if possible, that are in your direct neighborhood that would be just like your properties, because the appraisers really they're going to be happy to see that they have very recent sales. Now, when I say very recent, typically an appraiser would go back as much as 6 months, and they still will. But the problem is that 6 months, we've changed so much that if you're a seller and you're looking at you're thinking my neighbor sold 6 months ago and I want to get that price for my property, you may not be able to get that. That just may not be viable, even with this low inventory that we have right now. I said we're stable, but I didn't say we're flying through the roof as far as values. We're not going up. We're holding firm. We may even have a little bit of softening still to go. I don't know. We're going to have to see the numbers for next month. But these are things you got to keep in mind if you're a seller. So pricing, really look at the most recent sales, because here's the other thing. If your property's on the market for around 100 days, you're losing about 13%. That's how much it finally will sell at when somebody either comes along and offers on it, or you decide to lower your price. It's got to be around 13% decline. On a $500,000 property, that's a big chunky number, okay? That's a big chunky number. So you don't want to be losing that 13%, folks. Now, here's the thing. Most sellers are not just looking to just jump on the market and sell their properties in a heartbeat. They've been looking to do this for a little while. If you don't have to get it done right now, there may be some room very shortly ahead. Number two thing that you need to be aware of when you think of what your home is worth, you need to be aware that if it's not priced really well to sell, there may be potential for hidden costs. In other words, you may get X amount of dollars, you may get this sales price, but you had to, in the sales price, pack in enough for the buyer as far as closing costs and maybe help them do a rate buy down and so on and so forth. These are the hidden costs that could be there if you're not priced well enough. If you're priced well enough to sell, you could be looking at multiple offers, even in this market. My listings have been getting that. So if you really want to get the top number in your neighborhood just because you want to look like, hey, look, I sold for the most, you may be looking at some extra costs that are hidden in there that are going to hit your bottom line. So be aware of that. And number three reason that you may have it wrong is appraisals. Appraisals are now changing, and this alludes back to what I was saying about the comparisons. When you compare your property to other properties that have sold, you really want the most recent sales if you can find them, because appraisers are now becoming more stringent and tight with the way they're evaluating properties. They know we are in a market that has been going down. And guess what, folks? Sometimes they're the last ones to get the news that we are either stabilizing or going back up. This is where we have always problems where the market shifts. It's easy for them when the market shifts a little bit downward because they're like, I got the comps. But as it continues to go downward, as it has, now they have to shift into, oh, well, this market is going down, and they continue to see that downward view. Okay, so be aware that you have to be more cautious about how the appraisal's going to come out. Buyers are aware of it. I can assure you that they are aware that if they don't see value in your property that you're asking for, that they would be concerned about the appraisal. Many times that's what they're going to be looking at. Now, the good news is, folks, that 28% across the country, 28% of the sales that are still happening are cash sales. I would say in Vegas, it may even be more than that. I don't know the exact number here in Vegas, but I think it's a little higher than that, just based on my own anecdotal experiences when I'm selling property and I'm helping people find property and we're getting beat out by cash offers, or my listings are getting cash offers. One of the reasons that may be happening is that, you're thinking, well, that's kind of wild. Why are people still using cash to buy homes? First of all, cash can muscle in. You can kind of buy into the future where you think things will be by muscling a seller that maybe wants to get the property sold quickly and will give you a deal for the cash for the easy close. But also, there's something new that's happening with these banks that have been, going down, okay? The banking trouble has caused people to be nervous about their money sitting in a bank. Well, if I'm nervous about my money sitting in a bank, maybe I want to put it into an asset. And that's what people are thinking right now, especially because you're only insured on these FDIC insurance for $250,000. Now, I know I don't know what deals are being made by the government to pay more than that on some of this banking stuff, but generally speaking, that's what you can say I'm insured on, is $250,000 of my money in the bank. Well, if I put it into a piece of real estate, and if you feel like I do, especially in Vegas, that we may be hitting the bottom of where things are, well, now it's time to get in, put my money into the market as far as real estate. It's a more stable environment to be in if I feel like the banks are concerning me. And there you go. Real estate wins once again. So that's something I would point out. There is a lot to point out when it comes to what is happening in real estate right now, especially in Las Vegas, Nevada. I have a very optimistic view of what's happening. It's not just based on my love for the town that I grew up in and because I want to make money, folks. I can assure you that I get those comments all the time that, of course, Rob just wants to make money and that's why he's telling you these things. No, first of all, the way I make money is in the future. If I do you right, if I tell you the right things, then you're going to listen to me and you're going to believe what I have to say. I want to earn trust, and then that makes money. Does that make sense, folks? Well, that means I have to give you my best shot. I have to tell you what I really believe, and what I really believe is that Vegas is turning into a stable environment for real estate. It's maybe got some more twists and turns, but overall, I just feel like we're looking pretty darn good. And, going back to the sellers do not look desperate. They don't want to get out there and put their properties on the market. The way that lending was done in the last, decade plus has been completely different. So when somebody says to you, it's like 2008, and they see the banks having issues and stuff like that, folks, it won't happen the same. It can't happen the same, okay? So you're wrong, and I've heard it throughout my career. You are wrong if you are thinking that it's going to be the 2008 style crash or Great Recession. It could happen differently, but you're wrong if you think it's going to happen how 2008 happened. And how that happened was a lot of foreclosures that eventually led to short sales, okay? Distressed properties is what we call those. I'm not seeing them. And I think it would take literally years for those to start showing up in any real numbers. We'll keep an eye on things, but folks, I just think Vegas is the place people want to be, and they're getting away from areas that are actually in more troubled territory. And that's the prognostication that I have to say about that. Okay, folks? Hey, thank you again for watching. I really appreciate you watching this channel. Please subscribe and say hello. If you made it this far, give yourself a gold star. Comment, say hi. I don't care what you say on there in the comments. I will respond to you as long as you're not a crazy wackadoodle. All right? Hey, see you on the next one, everybody. Have a great day.